Have you ever seen that person who just doesn't break? Not the person who handles stress well or stays positive. The person who walks into chaos like it's a calm Sunday morning, who loses their job, their savings, their reputation, and somehow comes back harder than before. Who faces the same problems that would destroy you and barely blinks. You've watched these people in your office, in your family, on the internet, and you've told yourself a story about them. They're wired differently. They were born with something you weren't given. They don't feel things the way you do. That story is a lie. A comfortable lie you repeat so you don't have to face the truth. The truth is, they built something you never did. They weren't born unbreakable. They became unbreakable through a process so uncomfortable that most people quit in the first week. You would quit too. You've quit everything else. In ancient Japan, samurai and monks understood something about the human spirit that modern therapy still can't teach. They called it Tamashii, not soul in the soft, spiritual sense. Tamashii is the forged core that remains standing when your money disappears, your relationships collapse, and everyone you trusted walks away. You are not born with Tamashii. You build it through 5 practices so boring and painful that most people would rather stay broken than endure them. But there's a price. This system demands you kill someone, not literally. The person who must die is the weak, excuse-making, emotionally reactive version of yourself that you've been protecting your entire life. Most people can't do it. They've grown too comfortable with their own softness. This video will show you the exact system. 5 principles, specific protocols, concrete rules. But I will talk to you the way your own life would talk if it could speak. No comfort, no encouragement. If you're serious, subscribe and hit the bell. Then tell me in the comments, what moment exposed how weak you really are? Be specific. If you can't even type that, nothing in the rest of this video will help you. Now let's start where all real change starts. Michael Chen was 36 years old, and on paper, he should have been fine. Freelance web designer, flexible schedule, his own boss. In reality, his biggest client in 2025 was a local bakery arguing about the shade of beige on their homepage. They paid late anyway. He almost skipped his college reunion that March. 20 years since graduation. 20 years since teachers pulled him aside to say he was going places. 20 years since he was voted most likely to succeed. His wife Sarah had to convince him to go. "It'll be good for you," she said. What she meant was, maybe seeing everyone else will finally shake you awake. The ballroom smelled like expensive cologne and accomplishment. Everyone stood differently now, settled, certain. We just closed the Series B. The firm made me partner last fall. We bought a place in Austin cash. Then people turned to Michael. "So what are you up to these days?" He gave his usual script: freelance, web design, flexibility. Their faces did that thing, the micro flicker of recalibration, as they filed him somewhere between cautionary tale and "that's too bad." Then Ryan Whitfield walked in. In college, Ryan couldn't pass statistics. Michael used to tutor him for free, out of pity. Now, Ryan wore a suit that cost more than Michael's car. 2 assistants trailed behind him. The room shifted toward him like gravity. Sold his company last year, 9 figures. I heard Google tried to buy him out. He said no. Michael stood 3 feet away. Nobody introduced him. At one point, a woman tapped his shoulder and asked if he could get her a sparkling water. She thought he was hotel staff. He got the water, brought it back with a smile. In the bathroom later, he stared at the mirror and couldn't recognize what was looking back. The drive home was silent. Sarah didn't speak until they pulled into the driveway. "I used to defend you to my mother. She said you'd never become anything. I told her she was wrong for 15 years. She opened the car door. She wasn't wrong, Michael." Inside, she was waiting at the kitchen table. Bills spread out, calculator open. "We have 4 months of savings. The car needs work. Emma needs braces next year. You said last year would be different. You said that in 2023 and 2021, and every year before that." Michael started to explain. Market conditions, difficult clients. He just needed one big break. "Stop." Her voice was flat, exhausted. The voice of someone who stopped hoping a long time ago. I married potential. 15 years later, I'm still married to potential. I'm done waiting for you to become something, Michael. At the top of the stairs, their 8-year-old daughter Emma was watching, not confused, recognizing, finally understanding what everyone else already knew. Sarah went to bed. Michael found a note on his pillow. Get help or find somewhere else to sleep. He moved to the couch, didn't sleep. At 4 a.m., he walked out the door. No destination, just motion. He ended up at a Japanese garden he'd driven past for years and never entered. One person was inside, an old man on a stone bench, perfectly still. Michael sat nearby and tried not to fall apart. The old man spoke first. Your posture tells me everything. The accent was Japanese. The English was precise. Michael looked up. Excuse me? The way you sit, the way you breathe. Short, shallow, fast, the breathing of a man who has been running from something he cannot escape. The old man turned his head slowly, eyes like scanners. How long have you been empty? Michael forced a laugh. Rough night. No, rough decade. Silence. The old man let it stretch until it hurt. My name is Yamamoto. I trained men in Japan for 40 years, soldiers, athletes, executives. All of them came to me convinced they were special cases. All of them were suffering from the same disease. What disease? No Tamashii. He said the word like a medical verdict. No core. You have feelings. Everyone has feelings. You have opinions, reactions, preferences. But beneath all that, nothing. Just air. When pressure comes, you collapse because there is nothing inside holding you up. Michael wanted to argue. He couldn't. Most people think they have a soul because they experience emotions, Yamamoto continued. This is like thinking you have muscles because you feel pain. Emotions are sensations. Tamashii is structure. You can live your entire life without it. Millions do. But you will always be controlled by whatever happens to you. A leaf in every wind. A boat with no anchor. Can that be fixed? Fixed is the wrong word. You cannot repair what was never built. Yamamoto stood slowly. If you are serious, come back tomorrow. 5 a.m. No phone, no coffee. If you are late by 1 minute, do not come back. If you miss a single day after that, do not come back. I have no interest in tourists. He began to walk away. What will you teach me? Michael called after him. Yamamoto stopped but didn't turn. How to build a soul. But you should understand, most men quit within 2 weeks. They discover they love their weakness more than they hate their pain. He disappeared into the morning fog. Michael sat alone with the worst question he'd ever faced. What if he's right? He came back the next day. 4:47 a.m. Yamamoto was already there. First principle. Gaman. Your first problem, Yamamoto said, is that you leak. Leak? Every discomfort that touches you must be announced, shared, complained about. Bad traffic you tell someone, rude email you text someone, tired, stressed, annoyed, you post about it, you vent about it, you bring it up in conversation like it's news worth reporting. Michael thought about his habits. It was true. He complained constantly. This is not communication. This is hemorrhage. Every complaint trains your nervous system to treat discomfort as emergency. You are practicing weakness thousands of repetitions every day for years. Then you wonder why you collapse when something actually difficult happens. So what's the alternative? Just suppress everything? Suppression is pretending pain does not exist. Gaman is different. Yamamoto showed him 2 characters written in a small notebook. Gaman means bearing the unbearable with dignity. You acknowledge the pain. You do not give it your voice. He handed Michael a rubber band. Here is your protocol. 30 days, no complaints, not out loud, not in your head, not to your wife, your friends, your phone. Every time you catch yourself complaining or about to complain, you snap this band on your wrist. Hard. Then you move it to the other wrist and log the moment. What triggered it? What you wanted to say. And if I slip, you log it anyway. Every night, review your log. For each complaint, write one action that would actually address the problem. Client is annoying becomes respond within 5 minutes with no attitude. I'm tired becomes go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Complaints become tasks. If you have more than 10 complaints in a single day, you restart the 30-day count from 0. Michael stared at the rubber band. It seemed too simple. This seems too easy to work. Simple is not easy. You have spent 36 years practicing the opposite. You will not undo that in a weekend. Day 1 was a disaster. Michael snapped the band before breakfast. Coffee too hot. Traffic slow. Email from a client with a passive-aggressive tone. Back sore from the couch. By noon, his wrist was red and he logged 23 complaints. He restarted the count on day 3 and day 5 and day 7. On day 9, something shifted. He felt the complaint forming about the weather, about a late payment, about Sarah's tone, and caught it before it escaped. The band snapped, but it felt less like punishment and more like awareness. By day 20, his log showed 2 complaints, then 1, then 0. Sarah noticed before he did. "You're different," she said one evening. Not warm, suspicious, quieter, but not checked out quiet, more like you're actually here. On day 30, Michael returned to the garden. Completed, no restarts in the last 19 days. Yamamoto didn't praise him, just nodded. "Good. You have stopped bleeding. Now we see if you can move while carrying weight," he added, almost as an afterthought. A Stanford researcher once ran soldiers through a 4-week no-complaint protocol. Cortisol dropped, focus improved, nothing external changed. Only the way they process difficulty. Gaman is ancient. Science is finally catching up. He opened the notebook to a new page. Second principle, Konjō. Gaman teaches you to hold pain without leaking, Yamamoto said. Konjō teaches you to move through it. He wrote the characters. Konjō means root nature, stubbornness that goes to the bone, not discipline, which requires constant decision. Identity where continuing is simply who you are. I've tried building habits before, gym memberships, morning routines. They never stick because you chose impressive things instead of foundational things. Your ego sabotaged every attempt. Yamamoto's voice was flat. You will not go to a gym. You will walk 5 miles every day for 60 consecutive days. Michael almost laughed. Walking? You find it beneath you. Good. Your ego has destroyed every habit you have attempted. We will start with something it considers too boring to interfere with. The protocol was precise. Buy a 20-pound weighted vest. Tonight. Keep the receipt as evidence. Map a 5-mile route through your neighborhood. Not a treadmill, an actual route through the world. Begin every walk at 5:30 a.m. phone on airplane mode. No music, no podcasts. Complete the 5 miles in under 90 minutes. If you miss a single day for any reason, restart the 60-day count from 0. Any reason? What if I'm sick? Traveling? What if? Then you walk sick, you walk in airports, you walk in hospital corridors if necessary. The rule has no exceptions because your brain is looking for escape routes right now. Give it 1 and it will manufacture 100. He started the next morning. Week 1 was fine. The novelty carried him. Week 2, his feet blistered. The weather turned cold. His mind generated endless reasons to skip just today. He walked anyway. Day 22, rain poured sideways. He put on a garbage bag and went out. A neighbor watched from her window like he lost his mind. Day 34. Emma asked if she could come. She made it 2 miles before her legs gave out. He carried her on his back for the remaining 3. Why do you do this every day, Dad? Because I said I would. She was quiet for a while. Then, that's cool. He finished the last mile with tears mixing into the rain. On day 60, he sat across from Yamamoto. Done. No restarts. Now you know something about yourself that no one can take away. You can follow a rule without negotiation. This is rarer than you think. He added, a neuroscientist in Tokyo tracked people who maintained a hard daily practice for more than 45 days. Their brains physically changed, the motivation centers restructured. Discomfort stopped registering as a stop sign. Konjō is not a mindset you find. It is a circuit you build. Yamamoto closed the notebook. Now we remove your escape routes. You are improving, Yamamoto said, but you are still hedging. Hedging how? Part of you is waiting to see if this works before fully committing. You are testing the water with one toe. You will never learn to swim that way. He wrote the next characters, Kakugo, usually translated as determination. The translation is too weak. Kakugo is the mental state of a samurai who has already accepted death before drawing his sword. There was nothing left to protect, nothing left to lose. He fights without hesitation because, in his mind, he is already dead. That sounds extreme for building a freelance business. You think your situation is not extreme? Your wife has stopped believing in you. Your daughter watched you get humiliated. You are 36 with nothing to show for 2 decades of potential. If this is not an emergency, you are more delusional than I thought. The protocol, 180 days, 6 months. Transform your freelance work into an actual agency, not more clients, a real entity. $30,000 revenue in a single month. At least 2 people on payroll besides yourself. If you fail, you send your resume to every corporate job you've mocked. You accept a cubicle, a commute, and a manager. You let your successful friends place you in an entry-level position. Tonight, write a 1-page contract with the target and the consequences. Have Sarah sign it as a witness. Call a successful friend and tell them the terms. Wire $5,000 to them. If you miss the target, they donate it to your college alumni fund as a public record of your failure. Post the commitment online. Not vague inspiration, exact numbers, exact date, exact consequence. This is humiliation as fuel, Yamamoto said. Your ego has been your enemy. Now we make it your engine. That night, Michael wrote the contract. Sarah read it in silence. I don't believe you can do this, she said when she finished. I know, so why should I sign? Because if I fail, you'll have proof. And if I succeed, you'll have a different husband. She signed. He posted the commitment publicly. $5,000 wired to Jake, his most successful friend from the reunion. For the first time in his life, there was no escape hatch. Build or be destroyed. A Harvard researcher tracked professionals who used public accountability with financial penalties. Yamamoto said at their next meeting, they were 8 times more likely to complete difficult goals, not because of strategy, because of terror. Kakugo converts cowardice into fuel. Day 94. Michael's father had a stroke. The call came at 2 a.m. He was on a plane by 6. Hospital hallways, plastic chairs, his mother falling apart, his sister useless. Everything landed on him. The walk streak broke on day 2. Gaman shattered by day 3. He snapped at nurses, cursed at airline delays, complained to anyone who would listen. The business stalled. Emails piled up. At 3 a.m. on the 5th night, sitting in a hospital corridor that smelled like antiseptic and fear, he texted Yamamoto, I'm failing. Everything is falling apart. The reply came at dawn. Good. Now we see what you are. Come back when he is stable. Good? His life was collapsing and the old man said good? His father survived. Barely. Michael flew home 2 weeks later, hollowed out, certain that everything he'd built was a facade. He showed up at the garden. Yamamoto studied him. You look destroyed. I am destroyed. One crisis and I am back to who I was. No, the old you would not have come here this morning. The old you would be on the couch, telling himself he tried. You are here. That is the difference. He paused. But you have found a gap in your armor. You can endure. You can persist. You can commit. But chaos still hijacks your nervous system. This is where Fudōshin begins. Fudōshin means immovable mind, not emotionless, unsteerable. Emotions come, you feel them fully. Then you act from choice, not reaction. The protocol was simple and brutal. 45 days, daily stillness practice. Same time every day, no exceptions. Sit on a chair or cushion, spine straight, hands on thighs, eyes half open. No phone, no music, no guidance. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Breathe through your nose. Thoughts will attack worries about money, fears about your father, anger at yourself. You do not fight them. You do not follow them. You label each one thought and return to breath. Every 3 minutes, scan your body from scalp to toes. Notice tension. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders. When the timer ends, write one sentence. Dominant sensation. If you miss a single day, restart the count and add 5 extra days. The first sessions were torture. His mind screamed for stimulation. Every few seconds, another worry demanded attention. But he sat, without moving, without reacting. By day 10, the thoughts still came but seemed quieter, less urgent. By day 20, there was a gap, a tiny space between the thought and his response to it. The thought arose. He saw it. He chose whether to engage. Day 28, his father went back into the hospital. Another emergency. Michael got the call during a client meeting. He felt his chest tighten, felt adrenaline spike, felt the old panic rising. But this time, he watched it happen. He excused himself calmly, made the calls, drove to the airport at normal speed. On the plane, instead of spiraling through catastrophic scenarios, he sat, breathed, felt the fear without letting it drive. His father stabilized again. Sarah noticed the difference. You were so calm when you got that call. I expected you to fall apart. The fear was there. I just didn't let it steer. An Oxford researcher scanned long-term meditators and executives trained in stillness. Yamamoto told him later, their amygdala, the brain's alarm system, showed 30% less reactivity. The threat registered. The panic didn't explode. Fudōshin is that gap between stimulus and reaction. You built it. 6 months after that first morning in the garden, everything had changed. Michael hit the Kakugo numbers, 34,000 in a single month, 2 full-time employees. Jake wired the 5,000 back with a one-line message, about time. But something else had shifted, something harder to measure. Clients stopped negotiating his rates. In meetings, people waited for him to speak before offering their own opinions. Sarah looked at him differently, not with hope, which can curdle into disappointment, but with respect. Emma introduced him differently now. My dad runs a company, she told her teacher. Not my dad works on his laptop. Kihaku, Yamamoto explained. The final principle. It cannot be practiced directly. It emerges when the other 4 are in place. What is it? The pressure that radiates from a person who has actually done the work. Not confidence, which can be performed. Presence, which cannot be faked. Most people are hollow. They project strength they do not possess. Everyone senses the gap between presentation and reality. But when someone with genuine weight enters a room, someone who has suffered without breaking, persisted without quitting, committed without retreating, others feel that too. They become quieter, more attentive. The protocol was simple. 30 days. In every conversation, speak last. Listen completely. When you finally speak, summarize what others said before adding your perspective. Eliminate filler. No no kind of, no I think, maybe. When someone finishes speaking, hold eye contact for 2 full seconds before responding. Before entering any important room, take 1 breath cycle. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 6 seconds out. Enter on the exhale. The first week felt awkward. Michael noticed how much of his old communication was designed to seem non-threatening, to preemptively apologize for existing. By week 3, people interrupted him less. His words landed harder. A behavioral researcher at Harvard measured the effect of presence on trust. Yamamoto said, self-possessed individuals, those with low need for external validation, generated higher trust and faster agreement. People feel the difference between someone who needs something from them and someone who is complete without them. Kihaku is that difference made visible. 1 year after the reunion that broke him, Michael walked into the same hotel ballroom. Same place, same faces, different men. People noticed. Conversations paused as he passed. Former classmates who had ignored him crossed the room to say hello. Ryan Whitfield found him at the bar. Heard about your agency. Respect. Took me longer than people think to get my first real traction. They talked for 20 minutes, not as failure and success, as two people who had both built something from nothing. Sarah arrived late. She had never come to these things before. This year, she asked to come. She walked straight to him, took his hand, and didn't let go all evening. Someone asked how long they'd been married. 15 years, Sarah said, but it feels like it just started working. On the drive home, she was quiet for a long time. Whatever you found this year, don't lose it. I can't lose it. It's not something I have anymore. It's something I am. She looked at him. For the first time in years, she believed what he was saying. Michael's final meeting with Yamamoto. You did the work, the old man said. So now you have a responsibility. What responsibility? Tamashii is meant to be transmitted. Someone taught me 50 years ago. I taught you. Your turn comes next. How will I know who to teach? You will recognize them. The broken ones, who are not yet finished. The ones still angry enough at themselves to change. He paused. You do not save them. You hand them the protocols and watch what they do. If they quit, you let them. You are not their therapist. You are the man who shows them where the fire is. He pressed a small stone into Michael's palm. Keep this, not as a charm, as evidence. When you forget who you built yourself into, hold it and remember you were not born this way. You chose it. You bled for it. Nothing can take it from you because no one gave it to you. He stood, bowed once, walked away, asterisk, asterisk. The complete system, asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk, asterisk. Gaman, 30 days. Asterisk, asterisk. No complaints for 30 consecutive days. Wear a rubber band on your wrist. When you catch yourself complaining, snap it hard, move it to the other wrist, and log the moment. Each night, convert every complaint into one concrete action. 10 or more complaints in a single day, restart from zero. Konjō, 60 days, walk 5 miles every day for 60 consecutive days. Buy a weighted vest, same time every morning. Phone on airplane mode. No music, no podcasts. Miss one day for any reason, restart from zero. Asterisk, asterisk. Kakugo, 180 days. Asterisk, asterisk. Choose one goal with exact numbers and a 6-month deadline. Write a contract with painful consequences for failure. Have someone sign it as a witness. Wire money to a friend who will enforce the penalty. Post it publicly. No escape routes. Asterisk, asterisk. Fudōshin, 45 days. Asterisk, asterisk. Sit in stillness for 20 minutes at the same time every day. No phone, no guidance. Label every thought, and return to breath. Miss one day, restart and add 5 extra days. Asterisk, asterisk. Kihaku, 30 days. Asterisk, asterisk. Speak last in every conversation. Eliminate filler words. Hold eye contact for 2 seconds after someone finishes speaking. Take 1 breath cycle before entering any important room. Here is what will probably happen now. You feel something. Motivated. Maybe a little exposed. You think that feeling matters. It doesn't. What matters is what you do in the next 60 minutes. Here's what will actually happen. You will finish this video. You will think, that was intense. You will screenshot the system or save the video. You will tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow you will be busy. Next week you will forget the details. In a month, Tamashii will be a word you vaguely remember. In a year, you will watch another video exactly like this one and feel the same temporary inspiration that leads nowhere. I know this because I have seen it happen thousands of times. The information is not the problem. You are the problem. But maybe you are different. Maybe this time something cracked open. Not because the video was better, but because you have finally suffered enough. Because the humiliation has outweighed the comfort. Because you are ready to kill the weak version of yourself instead of protecting it. If that is true, you have a small window right now. A gap where disgust is stronger than addiction to comfort. That gap is already closing. So here is what you do. In the next 10 minutes, set a 5:30 a.m. alarm for tomorrow. Find a rubber band. Map a 5-mile route from your home. Write 1 sentence describing your Kakugo commitment. If you will not take those 4 steps in the next 10 minutes, you will not do the real protocols. And this video will be nothing but 40 minutes of entertainment that made you feel something without changing anything. You can stay soft. You can keep telling yourself you are working on it. You can watch your kids grow up remembering a parent who never finished anything. You can grow old wondering what would have happened if you had actually committed. Or you can start tonight. The system is in front of you. The choice is in your hands. The time is running out. What you do in the next hour will tell you everything you need to know about who you really are.